First of all, of course, thanks a lot for inviting us and telling a little bit on where we stand. I was told I'm not allowed to bring slides and I have to do it in 10 minutes. So I thought let's take a small piece of paper, put my points on that piece of paper, and then it probably will work. So, a few words on my own background. I want to say something about EIT and EIT ICT labs. Also about the role of ICT, of course, therein, and I want to close with a few remarks on the role of governments, both at national and European levels, in innovation. So that would be my topics. My personal background, I'm a mathematician by training. Somewhere I lost track and ended up in ICT because there the economy was booming, and then I lost track again and moved more into research management rather than doing research myself, and that's how I ended up in this position. I worked a lot in European programs, and my previous post before this I was a vice president of research at Philips, the company that used to make TV sets. About EIT ICT labs. So the situation in EIT ICT labs is that actually we are now in our third year of real operation. So the organization was set up in 2010, 2011 was the first year. We had a theme set, get organized and get recognized. And 2012 has just been closed and it was themed in our setting, Invest for Impact. So what did we do? Well, actually, if you would say in two words what EIT ICT labs is about, it's about educate and innovate, and combining these two things. In the education domain, we are running actually 4 initiatives. One thing is our master school, and I think there we took a very new approach that never has been shown in Europe before, because we were able to unite all the universities in our kick behind a single master program on ICT, with 1/4 of the whole program completely devoted to modules on entrepreneurship and innovation. The first 100 students are in the system. The second 250 are being recruited now. We do the recruiting in 2 phases. The rest of the world, we got over 800 applications. And Europe, where we expect a similar number. And out of this 1,500 applications that we expect, we will select 250 students that will be led into the system. It's a 2-year program, so then altogether, by September, we expect to have around 350 students in that system. The second thing that we did set up was on the PhD level, and we work there in so-called doctoral training centers. Doctoral training centers bring together PhDs, industries, in teams of PhD that work jointly on innovation projects. We established 4 of them, and we will establish 3 more. On average, there are 10 to 15 PhD students in these centers, and they are hosted in our co-location centers, and we have 50 PhD students now up and running. Then there is another initiative that we are doing in the education domain, and that's called the Software Campus. That's currently a German initiative, but we are discussing with other countries to take over the concept and roll it out in Italy, in Finland, and in Sweden as well. The idea is that if you look in Europe, there is a shortage at the management level of skilled ICT people. If you look at the CTOs, the Chief Technology Officers of ICT companies, the Chief Innovation Officers, you see that a lot of them are from outside Europe. And we do not really have the skill and the talented people, the skilled and talented people ourselves. So this program is completely geared to that, and the German government asked us to run that program. They give 25 million to run it in 5 years, and we have the first 80 students enrolled in that program. A brand new initiative, which is in the context of the Grand Coalition for Jobs, is the Academy Cube that was announced at CeBIT a week and a half ago, and that's about combining the need for skilled ICTers, education, also in the context of distance learning, and unemployment. And in that triangle, make sure that unemployed STEM graduates are skilled through the Academy Cube in ICT skills, and then can be recruited in these open positions that there are in ICT, and the predictions for 2015 are varying a lot, but I take a number of about 300,000 people short in ICT, and that's all over Europe. It's in Poland, it's in Italy, it's also in Spain. Funnily, although we think there's only unemployment, there's also jobs there. It's in Germany quite significantly. It's also in the Netherlands. So that is what we are doing in education. So a lot of things going on there, and education is interwoven with innovation. If you look at innovation, we have, in the end, it's all about people. It's exactly what you say, right? On the other hand, we work on innovation. And again, innovation also is very important with education, because innovation meets resistance, and resistance is often met because things are unknown. And if things are unknown, you have to teach people about the unknown, and they will be more easily accepted. What we are doing there is mainly on two tracks. One track is really the creation of startups at a European level by making sure that technologies that are floating around in our infrastructure, we started, by the way, with 30 partners, meanwhile we have 90. So in 3 years' time, we really grow in the number of partners. The invested budget grow a lot as well. In 2010, we had an EIT budget of 4 million just to start up and get things going. This year we are at 40 million. And we were able to set up an organization that is really able to deal with this growth in such a short time. And the reason for that is that we have an excellent partner network. So if you look at the innovations we are doing, we're creating a lot of startups, and the annual reports for 2011 and the 2012 one, I just got the draft version, will be out in 1 or 2 weeks. You will read the number of startups we have created and the number of transfers we are doing. When we're talking about transfer, we're talking about confirmed transfers. That means we take technology of one of our research labs, and it should be confirmed on the roadmap of the product of an SME or a large company. Otherwise, it's not a transfer, it's just a story. Right? So we are very, very tough on that. The other thing we are doing there is really making sure that we support SMEs at a European level. We're having discussion at various levels with SME. We have SME clusters connected now to the KIC, and we help SMEs to expand their businesses over Europe. And that's not trivial, because Europe is a very fragmented market, and people need support there on the market side, but also on the technology side. And we differ from other groups there is that we have the deep expertise to support that. And we now have business teams deployed in all our co-location centers. We have 6 of them. The people are full-time supporting SMEs, and we are supporting around 100 SMEs now in our network to have expansion in other places in Europe. So that's roughly what is going on, and what I can say in these few minutes. I want to say a few things about ICT, why ICT is so important. If you look at the current KICs, my colleagues have an easy thing. The climate KIC comes in and say, hey guys, the ice is melting, we're going to solve it. Don't worry, give us the money. And they get the money. The energy KIC is coming in and saying, hey guys, we're running out of fossil fuels, so we're going to solve that, give us the money. Now I'm coming in, which problem am I solving? Which problem am I solving? I'm actually solving 2 kinds of problems. One problem is that ICT, meanwhile, is almost everywhere. Any application you see around you is full of ICT. Everybody has a mobile phone here, but if you open the door here, or even the speaker set, it's all ICT everywhere. And then if you are everywhere, you're nowhere. But don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake by thinking it's just an enabler that you buy from the US and then you're done. It's not the case. There's also innovation in ICT. And people do very often not understand what's going on there. For example, if you see what's happening on the web, and what is the social impact of the things that are happening on the web, it's enormous. These things do not come by itself. And they not come by itself from American companies or Asian companies or whatever. They require in-depth investments. We do those investments in Europe, but we hardly invest in bringing those things to market. So a lot of our great technologies end up in products that are monetized by other parts of the world. And we should work on that. And there are areas where we have a very strong interest ourselves. ICT is very critical for our critical infrastructure. is if a bank falls over, the government rushes out and puts billions on the table to solve it. If tomorrow the internet crashes in Europe, which government rushes out with the billions to solve it? Which one? I think in the end all, because nothing will work anymore. So it has become a very, and this needs to be innovative. And there are a lot of challenges to be done. If you look in an area where we are extremely strong, telecommunication, there are huge challenges ahead of us. The growth of data is enormous. The revenue and business models are enormous problems. Yeah? Because on the one hand, the application money goes somewhere else, and our operators are suffering by building the infrastructure, which is a cost post, and where are the revenues? Yeah? So these are enormous challenges in this whole domain that we are addressing. A final word on government, and then my 10 minutes are more than over, I understand. What can be the role of government? I think the fundamental change we should make, and that is what we are trying to do with EIT, is the government in the area of research, development and innovation should change from being a grant giver to a smart investor. And that is pretty different way of managing your research and development programs. Yeah. And I think that is something where the EIT can help. And that is something which I notice. And that's not easy. Because if I look in EIT ICT labs, it's all about culture change. I always say I'm blessed because I work with people that are really very familiar with the European programs. And I'm always saying I'm cursed because I work with people that are very familiar with the games you can play with European programs. Right? And we should really move away from granting the money to investing the money. And investing the money cleverly requires expertise and requires governance. And I think the way we mobilize expertise and governance behind the way we run our national government-driven and European government-driven R&D programs can be improved a lot. Thank you.